Joe, Tom, happy Friday.
Tom, nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me on.
You're more than welcome, mate. I'm going to have to go straight in on this. Please excuse me. That's a powerful beard. Yeah,
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I've got the older sunroof kind of situation myself, so I've got to put the follicles to use somewhere.
that's it. How long did that take to accumulate?
It's been about come or go, apart from during COVID when it was very long because I didn't go to a barber in a while. It's
Uh,
a few years. This is about as long as it gets before it starts sticking out sideways. So it's generally around this kind of volume.
That's interesting. So they sort of get a life of their own after. People don't realise.
That's
Yeah,
it, that's it. Like, it's not like a wave in it, and I didn't quite understand how. I mean, generally women have a bit of a thing about being particular about their hairdresser. I'm particular about my barber because it took me a while to find one that actually knew what they were doing. And yeah, you've really got to go and got to go and lean into that if you really commit to the full facial fungus.
that's it. Well, this bit is the easy bit. So we got
Yeah,
you got the total opposite ends of the spectrum in one space.
very much so, very much so.
Anyway, Joe, I'm looking forward to hearing your story and what you're comfortable sharing with us. I don't know much about you, if anything, so I'll treat me as a blank canvas or an idiot, either or. Um, Tell us a bit about yourself, mate.
Sure. Well, again, I think most people interested in yourself and your podcast have working in recruitment. Like pretty much everybody, maybe it wasn't what you sort of dreamt of doing when you were a kid at school. There's a few things via astronaut, of course, everybody wants to do. Though I went to university for basically applied environmental chemistry, expected to do contaminated land consulting. That didn't happen because credit crunch, no one was building, no one was hiring consultants. So I went dashing out resumes to places, went to a water monitoring conference, um, ran into some folks who were like, oh, you've got resumes in hand. We need an XYZ. Do you want to do sales? I'm like, sure. Turns out I'm far better at talking to people than wasn't the science. So I'll probably go into that world for a few years, working in scientific sales via various things. All going great until I was like, oh, kind of really want to go to this place with a really good mountain biking and skiing. So kind of packed in a job, rented the house out, moved to Canada, where I am now, and did a few different things. Got the ski slash bike bum out of my system. Was like, right, okay, I kind of need to do something, do something more than earning minimum wage and having a lot of fun because fortunately that doesn't impress bank managers. So back into the workforce, and rather than going back into scientific sales as I had done, because it would have involved much bigger territories, much more time in an airport. That is less fun when I know people up and down the country in the UK. Whereas here I knew people in a very small part, and back there I could drive most of the territory, whereas here not the case. So I got headhunted. Maybe I could try this recruitment thing, and got talking to some people, and the market was great 21, 22. So I got a chance to have lots of conversations, learn a lot. And yeah, I've recently changed firms actually. So I'm in a bit of a different structure now, but still here, still enjoying the roller coaster like everybody does, I'm sure.
Okay, all right. So you're quite right. We have had a good few recruiters on here, which apparently is a bit of a no-no from recruiter to recruiter. We don't publicise each other, but it's worked. It's working for us. We have all sorts on here as well, and we really like to understand what makes people do what they do, what have you, which is, I suppose, is the recruiter mindset. Anyway, but you're from the UK originally.
Indeed, indeed.
Whereabouts?
Just south of Birmingham, so Redditch.
Yeah.
Just maybe most people know it because you go past it on the M42 or Halco's head office. After that, no one's ever been there.
Okay. So growing up in Redditch and you're about to explore the world, um, was it always your plan to go to other countries and to forge a career elsewhere and see the world, or was you quite happy where you were there and things were circumstantial?
Um, Bit of one, bit of the other. So I did mountain biking is like through and through the thing I'm most passionate about. Like I got this hooks in me about 18, and like I went to university where the good mountain biking was. I lived in Sheffield for a few years where the good mountain biking was. Then I did the bike season in a place called Whistler in British Columbia. Basically it's a ski resort that invented bike parks. So if you ride bikes, it is the place. So I took myself to the place. fell in love with it and never quite got it out of my system. Hence, moving back to Canada, having done career life and just didn't quite scratch the itch. So I was like, right, I've got to get back here. So I did, and yeah, that's here I am, like 8 years later now, citizen and everything.
Okay, so in your opinion, Whistler is the mecca for mountain biking.
No, I pretty much. I think not many people would argue with that. I'm currently 45 minutes south of it at the moment, and now everyone says Squamish is, but everyone thinks their own backyard's the best, right?
Yeah, fair cool. And how long have you called that part of the world home?
So well, the Sea in the Sky, which is what this little region is called, like this corridor from Vancouver to a place called Pemberton, it's about 2 hours, and there's lots and lots of like good mountain biking and skiing and other outdoor things to be done. But I've been in this region for 8 years. The whole time I've been in Canada.
Okay, all right. So you're a Canadian resident or
Yep.
citizen now?
Got my residency pretty quickly because I was like, well, I'm staying, so I made that happen. And yeah, I've been a citizen for a couple of years now.
There we are. So a bit like sort of a Birmingham James Bond with two passports. Um,
Well, three actually, because the grandparents are Irish. And when Brexit happened, I was like, I'll get that in just in case I need it.
you just reminded me that's on my to do list as well. My grandparents were Irish as well, and I've got it all sitting there ready to go just to keep that going as well. So I'll be the Essex James Bond, and you could be the Brummy James Bond.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, people do like to make that connection. I'm like, if you knew anything about British accents, you wouldn't be saying it. But I'll take it.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, so what happened in your career is obviously you've gone through some trials and tribulations around the scientific world. Sales, it isn't something that really aligns itself with science in many respects, but obviously it's still components of the industry. It's
Hmm.
just sort of more about the individual. Um, I think maybe without that, recruitment wouldn't have found you.
Hmm. Uh, yeah, probably would have said so. Yeah, because especially on the sales as such, like the understanding someone's problem, what they're trying to overcome, how to get to where they want to be, is ultimately sales in itself. And the yeah, I'd say I'd agree with that.
And the reason I sort of bring that to the surface is all the recruiters we've spoken with, okay, they haven't left school saying, I want to be a recruiter,
No,
okay?
yeah,
As you quite rightly pointed out, you talked about astronauts and what have you earlier, okay? It just sort of gobbles you up somewhere down the line and you can't escape, you know? But you had your meandering in science world into sales, and then circumstantially, the stars aligned for you. It's where where it found you, if you like. Do you find well? What sort of recruitment do you do, Joe?
So I basically hire people that are very much like those I used to work with or be. So I can very much relate to someone who's looking for a new rec position, selling into the same kind of labs. Um, don't always do the exact same area. There's lots of adjacent things like people who work on the process side, so more things that monitor a manufacturing process rather than the actual scientific laboratory. But there's lots of crossover between the two. So I generally speaking, the same kind of people, so I can very much relate to what they're doing or the problems they're trying to overcome. If I was like talking to somebody in finance or software engineering, that'd be quite a bit different. And I think that's why I've kind of reverted back to the area that I kind of know because I can relate more, but still bring loads of value and understanding from a recruitment perspective.
And that's a fair point because it gives you that position of credibility, especially when talking with candidates, I'd say, over the clients, because they're
Mm,
putting their career in your hands. You represent them to get the best possible option, the right option for them at the right time. And you
mm,
can only really do that if you understand enough about what they do. You know, we see it where a carpenter, a chippy, ends up going to do construction recruitment, and they can talk that language. And so it isn't about just saying the words that you can soon learn by scanning a CV. It's about saying, well, I've been there and I've done that. I understand. Okay. And this is what three options were available. This is the one that's probably aligns more from in reality, you know?
mm. Yeah, you're right. And I run a 360 desk, so I spend as much time talking to maybe as much time talking to clients as I do candidates. And on the client side, Clients really appreciate somebody who knows the space because, again, any recruiter can do anything given enough time and willing. But quite often in such a specific niche, like hiring managers get pretty hacked off pretty fast with recruiters who don't understand what they're doing and just throwing resumes against something. I much rather, well, how I work is really go in deep, understand everything on the front end, and really like focus for a few days on the sourcing, either the network, the or headhunts. Either way, I pretty much know where I'm going very quickly in a search, and everybody gets interviewed because I know what they're looking for. They appreciate that rather than having to sift through 15 resumes. You can do that yourself with LinkedIn or Indeed. So they want somebody who knows how to find the talent.
That's where the value is. Absolutely, couldn't agree with you more there. I'm curious. Obviously, there's lots of economic headwinds at the moment. Most of it coming back to Trump's tariffs that is implemented worldwide.
Hmm.
I understand why and how, so I get all that. But I think Canada and the US are locking horns more than most, maybe because they're neighbours. But they seem to be really taking each other on. In your observations, how's that affected what you do, the recruitment industry, and just how things are in Canada?
It's not really affected anything yet, but I think you only have to see the news to say that because nobody quite knows what's going on yet.
Yeah.
But on a granular level, I've yet to hear of or have any projects shut down because of what's happening with tariffs. Obviously, people are looking ahead and going, what's coming, what's happening. And when anyone invests in anything, be it people, headcount, projects, or otherwise, they want certainty, and we are not living in certain times. But generally, things have been on an upwards growth apogee, maybe not super in a smooth fashion, like choppy quarters are happening, like 2 months will be bad, 1 month will be fantastic, which means you're up for the quarter. And over the year, you might be up, but everything's going like this, which makes senior management real spooked about giving the VP of sales the budgets to hire a rep. So that kind of thing's going on, but that's been a trend for like 2 years since kind of COVID went away and general slightly sort of more strained markets since then. But specifically Canada and the US, nothing's really happened yet because no one has really done anything yet. That being said, some distributors I work with are going to see big price hikes potentially. So they're having to go back to their big framework customers and talk about things like how that's going to look. So yeah, there's things coming. But no one quite knows yet. We're just
Yeah.
kind of just putting one foot in front of the other.
Yeah, but I think that's quite right. So it does take time for things to trickle down and to take effect. So this price gets passed on here, and we have to resource a partner, and all these things take some time to process. But that process is prolonged because it's a moving target in the first place. Where on it, well, we're getting counter tariffs and so forth. So we've got the uncertainty along with the timeline. But let's just say things as they stand, sticking stone, and we talk maybe 6 months to a year from now. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, do you foresee there be much impact on your industry, our industry, if you like, and on Canadians themselves?
I think it's going to what people are expecting is an inward focus, as you can imagine, which is the point of tariffs. As Canadians will do different things to realign in like big industry here. People I work with in the oil and gas sector, obviously a big player in multiple parts of Canada, and all downstream manufacturers are thinking, well, maybe these big projects that they were yes knowing on, like new pipelines, those are going to happen. And when people build things, you need hands to do it, which intensifies an already strained talent pool. Is not a bad thing for recruiters. Headache hiring managers going to gives the options back to people out there in the workforce. Probably going to be the same in the US. Is the talk as to butting up against the two. It's going quite what it's going to turn out like. Who knows? I'm sure you've seen in the news how many times and also a car crosses the border in Ontario between the US and back. Like start with a block of aluminium from Quebec. That becomes a stamped piston head machine, assembled back and forth 2 or 3 times. Like that's not getting unpicked quickly. Quite how it lands, who knows? A lot of my industry touches on that. a lot of things adjacent to it touch on that. So it's interesting times we live in. There will need to say that more.
It is, and you have to excuse me for picking on those sort of like bigger picture points, but it's something that people talk to recruiters about a lot. So we come in, we do our industry, we have our targets, we have our financials, we have our stresses, all that normal stuff. But then people do want to know what their competitors are doing, what's the next 6 to 12 months like, there's a value to the recruiter come in because we're front line on both ends with the candidate and clients. We're speaking to both all the
Yeah,
time. So we've got this very privileged and unique position. So that it's very smart for people to talk to recruiters about the economy, about the industry, about pay rates, about people's attitudes, and so forth. Do you find that something that's quite common in the Canadian market when people speak with you?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's recruitment is recruitment, regardless of your accent or where you are. I mean, I know a chap who's a high-level cybersecurity recruiter in Japan, and Japan's its own market, its own quirks. But at the macro scale, within Canada and otherwise, yes, it's definitely still the case. I'm in a privileged position to speak to a lot of people doing the same thing. Some of them competing for the same talent, so they want to know what everyone else is saying. And with
Mm.
some discretion, this is what people do. This is how people retain talent. This is how people incentivize things, and people appreciate that advice, especially if they are, say, small, medium-sized businesses. They don't really have a HR department, or maybe a HR department of one, as opposed to a talent acquisition team where the ABBs or Worleys of the world do.
Okay. All right. So let's fast forward a little bit more, and I'm going to stop pressing you on advice. That just by sort of like that's just sort of my gauge to see if all recruiters do this same thing, and you pass with flying colours. But for yourself, okay, so you started off in one area, it forced you into a similar area, and then found recruitment. Before you fast forward a little bit, do you think that you'd ever eventually live out your initial dream of working in the lab and going full cycle?
Probably not. I wouldn't say so. I think it's the journey I've been on has shown to me that my true talent, I think, is speaking with people and moving things along and facilitating things. Sure, I did a scientific degree, but I'll put my hands up. I scraped through the science part. I really was not good at the maths, etc., or not strong enough to get to where I would have done to make it in the profession. I was far better at collaborating, pulling people together, working on team reports, doing analyzing things and like taking a process and applying it rather than getting a hard number out of things. Like when I was selling instruments, etc., I demonstrated how it worked, understand what the person's problem was, what they wanted to fix, and how it fixed it, making repeatable results, and getting something to pass a quality inspection check. Ooh, yikes! But so that was not really a me thing. So now I think what I'm doing now is it suits me, suits my temperament. I feel I'm not terrible at it. So this is me for the foreseeable.
Nice and humble too. It's good to hear from a humble recruiter.
There we go. There we go. We do exist.
Yeah, that's it. Oh, we got recorded proof now. So that's that. Oh, mate, but listen, just as we wrap it up, people that are listening to this, whether it's to do with your personal life, or where you are, what you do for your business, okay. Someone wants to reach out and make contact with you. What would be the best route for them to do so?
LinkedIn, I'm super active on there, always, as any recruiter is, post a couple of times a week. And I really do try and make a point of replying to everyone who reaches out to me with advice or otherwise. Even if I can't speak to them then, I like to sort of try and make sure I touch base with anyone who gets in touch. So yeah, that's definitely the best place to reach me.
Fantastic. We'll be sure when we do publicise this, is to put your link in there so people can do exactly that. People are communicating, they are reaching out. So yeah, that makes our day when we hear these success stories.
Awesome. There we go. There we go. Happy to share.
Fantastic. Well, Joe, thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed that.
Awesome, Tom. Appreciate it.
Hello again, it is I am Mr. Purple. Thanks again for watching this video. If you like my videos, if you like what we try to do here, please subscribe if you haven't done it already. The other thing that's very popular right now is the t-shirts, the Mr. Purple t-shirts. There's lots of people wearing these at the moment. You can grab yours on our website, copying this link below. So once again, thanks for listening. We love your feedback. Engage with us and speak soon.